don't watch videos on Instagram if you're creating videos on Instagram, or if you're creating videos on YouTube, don't watch YouTube videos. Australians have a very cool sense of humor. I always try to use it as little as possible, because I want to keep training and using my brain, because it's like a muscle, otherwise we're gonna become all stupid and we cannot do anything anymore without AI. I quit YouTube for a business reason.
Hello and welcome to the Creators Chat. My name is Kashif Harrison and I'm the host and the creator of this show. Last year when we started this chit chat show, I did not know that the impact that we're going to have will be this way. Your love, your messages, your follows, your views, we love them all and keep them coming in. We're now, I feel, in our season 2. I think we are, because look at this backdrop. Look at us. And I'm so excited to share some amazing conversations with you this season. So let's just start off our episode with this person who I am so happy I finally get to chit chat. Okay, so his name is Roberto Ricotta. He is a storyteller. He's a producer. He is on a mission to work and collab with the most Aussie, coolest brands, actually. And I'm so happy to have you here, Roberto. Welcome to Creators Chat.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
From Italy to Sydney. Yes.
Yeah, all the way to Sydney.
Oof. Tell us. So, firstly, for people who are watching you for the first time and they got to know Roberto, what would you say, in a nutshell, the work you do?
I do storytelling content using a lot of irony. I like not to take myself too seriously. I used to work in a kind of like funny TV show in Italy. That's where I learned how to write. Not really comedy, because I'm not a comedian. It's very hard to be a comedian these days. They say it's always harder to make people laugh than to make people cry. But I always try to do storytelling using a touch of irony to help brands look cool. Not professional, cool, which is different. These days, I feel like if you're cool, it's better.
Yes, and if you're cool, you're viral worthy.
You can go viral. We don't have control over that. I'm not friends with Mark Zuckerberg yet. But we're working on it.
We're getting that phone call ready.
Yeah. We're getting there.
So now, Roberto, you've come from Italy,
Yeah.
and now you're here in Australia, and you're creating work. You're doing work in Australia, creating for brands. How has that been? How has that journey been so far?
I think it's been very easy for me to do it, because that's what I used to do in Italy. I moved here just for personal reasons, not for a career reason, and so it was like just literally converting what I used to do back in Italy here, and it was very easy, I have to say. I started pitching to brands. I started knocking door to door because no one knew who I was.
Yeah.
When I discovered that I wanted to live in Australia because I fell in love with surfing, I fell in love with the lifestyle, I was like, okay, now I need to be able to make some money, otherwise I cannot stay here, right? And so I just started pitching to brands and making my own videos. And through my own content creation, I found the first clients. So really the transition was very, very easy. I'm just doing what I used to do back in Italy. But with a little bit more of irony. We were talking about that because what I loved, one of the reasons why also I decided to stay in Australia, is I love how the sense of humor of Aussies. Australians have a very cool sense of humor. They never take themselves, I mean, not all of them, of course, but they never take themselves too seriously compared to Americans, compared to Europeans. And it kind of matched with the way that I communicate, because I'm like that. I'm not fully Aussie yet. It's a work in progress, but that's what I did. It was like a natural evolution.
And I see your videos. Can I just say that I love watching your videos, because in your videos there's a story to it, there's a process to it, there's a hunt that you do, and I just love that kind of storytelling. What made you create a work like this art of storytelling? But it's not just hooky. It's not just hook centered. Actually, there's more to it. You bring in a lot of your character into it. There's a storytelling. You bring in more people. You take us places, and people want to stay hooked onto it naturally. But then, how do you create this?
It's my curiosity. I'm a
Mm.
very curious person, and I ask a lot of questions to people, especially to the people that I need to tell their stories. It could be a brand, it could be a story that I choose for my personal profile. I feel like the key for me, of course, is not the same for everybody, but for me, is curiosity. I'm very curious, so I try to dig so much into people's story. And I try to be like to build something that like satisfy my curiosity first. And by doing that, I think then it satisfies also others people curiosity. So it's just like asking lots of questions. It's the base of what I do, asking lots of questions.
And if you had to ask a question in 3 seconds, if I ask you a question now, and if I say that you have 3 seconds to give me a great hook, or a hook that start your video with that. Let's just not even talk about hooks. Start your video with just 3 seconds so that you can gain my attention. What are the two most used words or questions you'll ask?
I always change. I think that whenever we start with, I was doing this and this happened, um, I think that's a very like catchy way of starting because it's a story. I used it a couple of times, but to be fair, I never think about oh, which words should I use. Usually, whenever I'm doing some interviews, I always ask, like I always, without asking this, but I always try to dig into the why that person is doing what they do for a living, or why the brand exists. I don't ask why you do what you do because it's a boring question. But I try to dig with question after question after question. Sometimes my interviews are like 4 hours, 5 hours for a 60 seconds video. So usually, like I try to dig into the why. What's the real why behind? And sometimes it's I don't overthink hooks or how to start a video. Just think about okay, what's a real story that we can tell? One of the most viral videos that I made for Messina, Gelato Messina, I was working at McDonald's when that's it. We told the story of the head of finance that used to work at McDonald's before becoming the head of finance of Messina. And it was like a very simple hook, just wearing his McDonald's outfit that I bought on eBay because apparently you cannot find anywhere McDonald's outfits, like they're not for sale.
Yep.
So yeah, that as easy as that. I was doing this when this happened. Storytelling is all about the contrast. Like situation A, something happens, it becomes point B. Like it's like a little change. You always need a little change, but I don't overthink it too much. Like I have a structure, but I don't overthink it because when you overthink it, that's when it looks robotic, mechanic, and like when it looks like made by AI, basically.
And that's my question as well, that do you use a lot of AI into your work, and how much do you use it so it becomes still your work, it's more or less AI?
Yeah, when ChatGPT became mainstream, I started using it a lot, and I still use it a lot. But I'm noticing that I'm using it less and less because I feel like we're getting too used to AI that we kind of like numb our own creativity, and then all the contents they look like the same. So I use it a lot, but I use it as a support. Mostly, to be fair, just to fix my English, because whenever I'm interviewing somebody, like now I'm like pretty fluent. I write in English. Like even when I'm journaling, I write in English. Like that's I'm dreaming in English, but still it's my own English. So sometimes there are a few mistakes. So usually I use it mostly for that. Which it's amazing because in the past you could have done that with I don't know, Google Translate. It was too mechanic. ChatGPT makes like a very good translation because it translates sometimes like a way of saying that I have an Italian is like so cool. And I also use it to summarize sometimes my thoughts. I start writing like crazy, like to be able to write a 60 seconds video, 90 seconds video. Sometimes I write like a poem. Like it's very long. So ChatGPT, that's what I use. It always helps me to summarize, but it's always based on my own creativity first. It rarely happens that ChatGPT, AI in general, gives me an input first. I always give input to AI, and I always try to use it as little as possible because I want to keep training and using my brain because it's like a muscle, otherwise we're gonna become all stupid and we cannot do anything anymore without AI.
And that is so right. And you touched a really good thing there, that if we use so much of AI, we'll be brain dead. Our creativity will be brain dead. And you're right. I mean, when I started this podcast, I used AI just to do my admin work, like to arrange some scripts and then how I can, fine tune them, if I'm being very honest, how to create templates, how to do Canva, because I learned all of that during a podcast launch.
Hmm.
So it was learning on the go, and I think that's why chat gpt really helped me. But now you're right, if I use it on a daily basis, I think to myself as well, this is not me. So I need to change it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we need to focus on, because you're right, a lot of what we see on the Instagram, the TikToks, the YouTube shorts is something we've already seen.
Yeah, you can already tell. I don't know. I can tell when I'm watching a video.
Yeah.
Like this morning, I was watching a video from somebody that I know, and I could tell that it was written by ChatGPT because the jokes are the boomer jokes that ChatGPT makes. You can tell when something is written with ChatGPT. The key is to, if you use ChatGPT, don't let other people understand that you're using ChatGPT. There's nothing wrong with it. I use it as well, but it still needs to be your tone of voice. So you need to train it well. You need to give like the right materials to ChatGPT in order that it really writes like you do. It's very hard, but you can get there.
You can get there. Now, can I ask that? I think you were mainly doing a lot of YouTube videos.
Yeah, I used to. Yeah.
And then you made a video where you said that I'm quitting YouTube.
Yeah.
What made you do that switch? And are these apps, the Instagrams and the TikToks, I'm not sure if you're on TikTok, but are these apps doing better for you rather than YouTube?
Yeah. I quit YouTube for a business reason. So my goal when I decided to commit fully to Australia, because when I moved to Australia, I used to make content in Italian and I used to work full time as a YouTuber and a content creator. I had some brands that were sponsoring me and that was like my main source of income. When I realized that I wanted to stay in Australia and I wanted to start a business here because I really wanted to do something for the society here. It's like these days you can be a digital nomad, so cool, but whenever you're like not working with the place where you live, I feel like you can do it for a little bit if you're traveling, but when you live permanently into a place, it's kind of like a dystopian effect. Like you feel like isolated because like no one, like you don't see people, like you're just doing your stuff, no one understands what you're doing. Plus if you don't do it in the language of the country where you live in, it's a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
So it was like first a personal reason, but then it became also a business reason because when I started making videos here and I wanted to start my business as I always say a content creator for others, not a content creator myself, but I help others being content creators with my ideas and my camera, which is my iPhone these days. When I started, I was like, okay, what's the fastest way of reaching these brands? And I realized that like the marketing managers or like, I don't know, the head of marketing of all these brands, they don't stay there on YouTube watching long form videos because once they clock off at 5 p.m. they just do their own stuff. Like they don't spend too much time on YouTube. Instagram is a very interactive platform. And it's very easy to collaborate with brands because now these days there's also on YouTube the collaborative feature that you can post the video from 2 different accounts. Yeah. But I feel like Instagram, because of DMs and because of stories, it's very easy to do networking in there.
Yeah.
And so if you want to build a network, it's a very niche network. Like I'm not trying to go viral myself. I try, of course, to make lots of views for my clients, but I'm not trying to go viral because people are interested in hiring a filmmaker, like it's not too many, right? So when I did these all thoughts and this whole process in my mind, I was like, okay, probably YouTube is not the best place where to be, and also YouTube it's harder to switch whenever you do a switch of language. Instagram was a little bit easier because it's a little bit more visual. Italians unfortunately don't speak English, and so it's some of them they stayed. I lost so many followers. But YouTube it was like very hard also to do the switch. So it was like a couple of reasons, but it was mostly a business decision.
Mm, that is so, and that's a very clever decision as well, right? Um, I mean, we love Italy. I love everything about Italy. I've been watching Love Is Blind Italy.
Oh, wow.
And I want to go to Naples. Naples is so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, can I ask you that so many creators are now in this loophole of chasing these trends because everyone wants that certain number. They want to go up to 10,000, 20,000 followers. I mean, I wanted to. So, we're stuck in this chase of just chasing trends, which is the best trend that we can do, and then we can get millions of views, and then hopefully those views can convert into followers. But that doesn't happen at all. And if someone else is telling you to do that, it's crazy because the rate is very low of the views on your video to convert into followers. Having said that, what would you say to someone who is wanting to start their storytelling journey as well and trying to become a content creator? What are the tips? Maybe let's see 2 tips, main tips that you could give them that will help them defer themselves from the people chasing trends and in that mindset that, hey, virality is the only way I can grow.
First of all, don't watch videos on Instagram if you're creating videos on Instagram, or if you're creating videos on YouTube, don't watch YouTube videos. I always feel like there's a very cool book. It's called Still Like an Artist. The whole theory is like, okay, nothing exists that has never been done. If you think about movies, I'm a movie addict person. Like I love watching movies. If you think about movies, it's very hard to create something for Hollywood that has never been done. Everything has been explored. War movies, comedy movies, and so directors always try to inspire to like between each other. The whole theory of this book is that like you shouldn't think about something completely new to do, to make, to create, but you should like steal from others. But it's so you need to be smart on your sources, because if you steal from something that is very similar to what you want to achieve, it's gonna create just a copy, right? Meanwhile, if you instead of watching Instagram, if your main thing is creating Instagram videos because you understood that business-wise it makes more sense. I always say just think about the business, like what's the strategy behind, because at the end of the day, if you want to do it full time, if it's a hobby forever, who cares? But if it's like a full-time job, you need to think first, okay, where are my clients? Like where can I get them? And then okay, these are my clients, this is my story. Okay, I need some inspiration. I don't watch videos on Instagram, like zero. Like I never scroll. Like for me it's also boring, because there are all these trends that you're talking about. I never watched that trend, never recreated a trend. Because it's nice that you can be the trend if you create your own story, and you don't, most of the times you don't need to go viral to have a successful business and to make some money and to be able to do this full time. So I always try to steal and be inspired by other sources, which could be, for me, the biggest one, of course, it's movies, but these days it's also strangely doing sport, going to communities, connecting to people, talking a lot to strangers. I love talking to strangers, because a conversation can give you something, like a new concept in your mind, and then you write down a script, and then the video that you create, it's unique. So it's always about like stealing from, like living your own life offline, and don't watch too much of the platform where you're in, because I feel like that's how you can be a little bit different. And the storytelling needs to be based on your own story, so that you're 100% sure that there's nobody like you. Like there's no one in Australia like Roberto Ricotta, but not because Roberto Ricotta is the best. Like, there are probably way better storytellers than Roberto Ricotta. But find me a Sicilian that moved to Australia and fell in love with this country because he started surfing and decided to quit his YouTube channel and his full-time career as a, like, there's no one like me. And so play with that and play with your weakness. Play with the fact that your English is very bad. Okay, just whatever captions. Like and that's how you, like, yeah, probably I never made a video with like 1 million views since I moved to Australia, but it's okay, doesn't matter. Like, for my own terms of being successful, I'm very happy with it. It's a constant work in progress. I always change things because I always want to feel like also entertained by my own work. I don't want to end up doing always the same thing, otherwise I would have been not a freelancer, but I don't know, I would work in an office 9 to 5. But yeah, it's all about your sources. Still be inspired and don't spend too much time in the platform that you're trying to distribute your own creations, because otherwise you're gonna just look like everybody else.
That is very good. And that is really good to have this value as a creator, to be different and just be unique. And I think that's the thing, be unique.
Yeah.
Love so much we're getting from you. I think so many of our creators who are watching this video or listening to the podcast will get so many tips from you already. I love that thing about not following people. That is so good. And not watching much people. Sorry, not watching much videos on the platform you're on. Now, can I ask you that? Yes, you're doing the work, and yes, you've come to Australia, and yes, you're creating the work that you want to do. But there's also some struggles. You have your wins, and then you have your losses. As in, you have this rethinking or overthinking voice in your head, which makes you feel like, hey, listen, good enough, or stuff like that. Self-doubt, I'm talking about. Do you have anything like that? And if you do, how do you deal with self-doubt?
Yeah, of course I do. I'm a human being. Who doesn't? I feel like I use it as a way of pushing myself to do better and better each time. I feel like anxiety in good doses, it's a very powerful tool because it can be like a nice kick, sometimes. I feel like if I wasn't anxious, like on a base, I'm anxious, of course. Like I'm a normal person. I have sometimes my doubts about maybe the video could have been better, that production could have been better. Literally every time that I finish like filming with a client or for myself, I always go back home that I'm thinking I could have done so much better than that. Reality is not true, because I usually try to push myself over my own limits. But then when I start editing, I'm like, why am I saying that? Like, it looks even better than what I thought. So I feel like the thing that I doubt myself is good, because it pushes me to do a little bit more than what I have to do. And that a little bit more, I feel like is the secret to be like completely different from everybody else. Of course, this is a job, making videos for other people, right? And you can approach this just as a job, so you just get paid, you do like your thing, and that's it. And it can still work, because if you do it properly, it works. But then those people that have a little bit of a kick, so they're, I don't know, insecurities, doubts about like their own ideas, I feel like they have like they stand a little bit higher, and that's when the unique work comes out. Of course, I know creators that have very little self-doubt, but they have other weaknesses that they turn into their strengths. So I feel like the whole point is like, yes, I suffer of that. It's probably my weakness sometimes, but I always try to treat it as a way that, okay, I'm feeling this. I acknowledge that I'm feeling that. Therapy is very good with that. But yeah, then I'm like, okay, that's probably a reason why I'm feeling this, and it's good to listen to that and to take action. Sometimes you shouldn't take action. Sometimes you should shut up. Like, don't say that. Like, don't think that. It's all about finding a balance between, okay, when to listen to yourself and when to not listen to yourself. Right now I'm fighting and trying to understand where to stop listening to myself, because sometimes it can be too much. Like your brain can be too loud and it stops you from being creative. To be able to be creative, usually you shouldn't, like, being in a fear kind of like scenario. If you're scared about something, usually it's not a good place where to be very creative. Usually you need to be in a state of, like, you can suffer, you can be very creative, but I feel like if you're scared that everything is gonna end up and the world is gonna end, I don't think you're gonna be very much creative in that sense. So it's all about like finding a balance, understanding when it's legit to think about, okay, this idea probably is not good, or like this production maybe could have been better for real. Like I did some mistakes, some creative mistakes. My biggest mistake can be sometimes over complex ideas. Like I have an idea and then I'm like, yeah, but I want to do this, and then it becomes something that no one understands, like not even me sometimes. But yeah, it's all about finding a balance, I guess, between where to listen to yourself and where to not listen to yourself.
Yeah, and in some cases, stop listening to yourself.
Yeah. Some cases it helps.
Just stop.
Just do it. Like, just commit to it.
Roberto, it was so nice having you here. You are definitely like an encyclopedia of storytelling, because you say you have a lot to say, and it's good things to learn from you, and so many techniques that I've learned already. So you're definitely like an institution by yourself. So thank you so much for coming in, Roberto. Now, before we do go, we do always like to, do this round of this or that. And for some reason, I actually emailed you all the this or that questions. So I have to change them up. So I'll ask you questions, but they're going to be really quick.
Okay.
And this is okay, how do I say? Roberto Ricotta. This is your this or that on the Creators Chat.
Okay.
Italy version.
Italy version. Ah, interesting.
Now, this is the first off, okay? So first things, pineapple on pizza. And then he'll just leave. Or no pineapple on pizza.
Pineapple on pizza.
What?
Open-minded. Like, Italians sometimes are not very open-minded. I think you should give it a try. Like, I don't actively order it. I would never. But what I learned in Australia is that you can mix sometimes and it's fine. It's just fruit. It's fine.
Wow. Okay. Italians will have something to say about it. All right. Storytelling or hooks?
Storytelling.
Shooting on iPhone or shooting on a DSLR camera?
iPhone.
Really? Tell me more about it.
I have a 7000 Sony camera that I don't use, sitting there on my desk.
Wow.
And
which iPhone do you shoot on?
16 Pro Max right now. I'm probably gonna buy the new one whenever they launch it this year. The reason why, it's because it's so much faster to do it with the iPhone, and also lighter and smaller. I love to do POVs, to place the camera in very weird object, for example, inside the cup. I would do it. It's a little bit harder with the Sony camera. Like, you can still do it. Sometimes when I used to use it, I used to do that as well. But I feel like you just save a lot of time with the phone, and these days the quality is amazing. And also, when you're in public, always ask for permission for people to film. But like, what I noticed also is that whenever you got your permission and you're filming with people, when you're using your iPhone, people feel a little bit less pressure. Like, even if they know they're filming, they're committed to it, when you're filming with your phone, it's like the pressure goes, because everyone does it, right? So it just looks like they're making just an easy video. Meanwhile, it's like a scripted video. There are lines that they need to say, but because it's with an iPhone, less pressure, easy. Let's take it easy. Of course, then if you're filming a movie and stuff, I still feel like you can't really do that with the like, if I was filming long form content for clients, I was probably gonna use the camera, but just because the iPhone, like, after a while it burns. Like, I cannot touch it with my hands. Like, it goes crazy. Like, short clips, it's fine.
It's fine. And now the last one. Surfing in Australia or surfing in Italy?
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
Is it?
Look, if you need to compare, like, if the two situations are the same, like conditions, sorry, if the conditions are the same, I would say Italy, just because it feels a little bit more special. Because I discovered surfing in Australia, and later on, after discovering surfing in Australia, I discovered that you can also surf in Italy. The problem is that in Italy it's not as consistent because, of course, we have smaller waves. It's like a big lake sometimes, but you can still get very big waves. And when there's a good surf in Italy, the idea that after that I can be with my family and have like amazing food and I feel like it's that beauty, like surfing in Sicily. I feel like I only surfed twice in my life in Sicily because I moved here 4 years ago. I still, whenever I'm thinking about that, like I'm in love with the memory of that day that I was surfing in Sicily, because it was so like the place where I grew up. I didn't know until coming here that I could surf there. But then for your everyday life, I think better in Australia, because here you can surf every day. So it depends from the conditions. But I would say if you can only surf one last time of your life, I would choose Sicily.
Oof.
Okay?
Sicily it is.
Yeah, Sicily. If for the everyday occasion, that's also why I live here, Australia.
It's so lovely talking to you, Roberto. Thank you so much for coming to the Creators Chat. And if people want to follow you, they can go to your Instagram. Do you have any other accounts?
Yes, I do, but Instagram, I think it's the best.
Is the main place to go. Well, there you have it. The Creators Chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on today's episode. I hope that you learned so much, because I did, and I can go on and on and on. But because we have a limited time, but we'll wrap this episode. If you did enjoy this episode, and if you enjoyed all the tips and techniques that Roberto had to share, please make sure that you follow him on Instagram, like and share this video, and share it with someone who is also learning this journey of the difference between following a trend and storytelling. This is me, Kashif Harrison, signing off from the Creators Chat. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel so we can bring you more episodes just like this. Take care. And thank you so much, Roberto.
Thank you.
Woo!
Beautiful. And just as a mic check, if you could both tell me what your best pump up song is.
The song, I don't sing. I'm not a very good singer. Actually, I want to do a singing class. Do you know any?
Annie. Who's Annie?
No, Annie. Like, do you know any singing class that I can attend? Because I'd like to start singing.
Do you have a favorite singer?
I know how to play. Like, I've been playing since I was 5, like the guitar. But I don't know how to sing. I'm very bad at singing, and whenever I do it, I end up with a throat ache. So I feel like I'm not using probably my
good vocal cords.
Yeah, I'm using my throat, and you should use your chest, I think. I don't know.
From your soul.
From my soul.
Do it anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I do it just when I'm by myself, because so that no one is gonna hear it.
All right, ready?
Ready.
Okay. If you love this episode, make sure that you drop in a comment. What was your favorite moment of this episode? What was the takeaway that you took home and you are going to work on? Because your feedback matters to us most. Don't forget to listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast from.